Hi everybody, welcome to this week's Real Wedding Chat. I'm Claire Amelia, the founder of E04, and today joining me is Hannah. Hannah, would you like to introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, of course. So I am Hannah, I'm a wedding planner. My business is Green Soul Weddings, and as part of that I specialise in a more sustainable approach to wedding planning.
Amazing, which is generally my little USP as well, because I love this conversation. So today we are going to be chatting about top tips to convert your wedding to an eco-friendly wedding day. So shall we kick off, Hannah? I am excited. So does having a sustainable wedding compromise on style?
Not at all. No. So I really, this is something I'm really passionate about. Sustainability is an approach rather than a style. So whatever style you want and however stylish you want your day to be, it can be achieved more sustainably and still look just how you want it to. So it's about making those small tweaks that are, just the small tweaks along the way, and approaching things slightly differently rather than changing the overall look and the overall feel.
Yeah. Amazing. So have you personally, so I'm personally on a sustainable lifestyle change myself. So I've been changing my home lifestyle, the items I buy within my home, with my clothing, my business purchases, everything I'm doing, I'm slowly converting it over bit by bit, which I think you can do with your wedding. You know, you normally with a wedding, you give yourself X amount of months to plan and then to get married and then say I do. During COVID, we've got a little bit more time at the minute, haven't we? Which means we've got more time to get on the sustainable bandwagon. Do you find it hard to source sustainable products? Because I would say that's probably my little book, like the little thing that I struggle with is actually to try and source people. So what Polly's saying is, it's probably good going to yourself, Hannah, because you've already done the work, haven't you, to find sustainable products, find sustainable services. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, obviously, as with all weddings, it's completely possible to do it without a planner. But what I like to think that I bring to the table is just that element of convenience as well, and obviously reducing the stress and helping the whole way through the process. Because I think, we all know that sustainability isn't necessarily the convenient option. The convenient option would just be to nip out and get whatever you come across or whatever you fall in love with first. But that's not always the best way to approach things and sort of take the time and think sustainably. So it can be difficult to find the sustainable options. There's quite a few good directives out there. I know E04's got a lot of good sustainable suppliers on your system. Yeah. There's other directories too, and going out and sort of just being open about your values and talking to the suppliers and asking them the questions, not being afraid to kind of let them know that that's something you're thinking about. Find out what approach they take, find out if it's something that they've really thought about before. Some people don't really talk about it much. So obviously being a sustainable focused planner, it's something that I talk about all the while, but there's a lot of suppliers out there that I know that live quite a sustainable life outside of their business, but haven't necessarily thought to kind of bring it into their business.
Yeah.
And to shout about it. So you never know until you ask. And also a lot of it is about increasing awareness. The wedding industry is gradually getting there. We're gradually making a nice positive movement. But some suppliers don't realise that it's something that couples are thinking about or wanting. So actually by asking those questions, you're helping to move the industry forward by helping more suppliers realise that actually it's something that they should probably be thinking about.
Hannah, you've just hit the nail on the head. Actually have, seriously. Firstly, ask the question. You really have. When I first set up my business, the Bridal Emporium, I set it up thinking, right, I'm going to do this and this, and I was overwhelmed with the amount of work that was involved, which meant I wasn't sustainable when I first started. And then now, because I've got a presence and I'm on top of my work ethics, and I can go back to my how I feel about how I should run a business and lifestyle and how we should be environmentally friendly. So yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there for me. I was one of them.
It can be so overwhelming. It really can. And that's one of the things, I think one of the key things that I say to couples at whatever stage of the planning process you're at, as soon as you want to start incorporating sort of sustainability into it, it's almost teaching yourself to take a back step and really think about things carefully and think about the meaning behind all the decisions you're making, because as soon as you are carefully thinking about your choices and putting a lot of meaning into it and getting rid of the things that don't really light you up, that don't really have a proper connection to you, maybe you're just doing it for tradition's sake, that's as soon as you start to sort of really think about what matters to you, that's when you can start to make an impact and get rid of some of the things that aren't necessary.
Amazing. I love it. So is a sustainable wedding cheaper, or are there certain elements that make it more cost effective, do you find?
It's definitely one of those things where couples, well, and even outside of weddings, in sort of everyday sustainable living, there's a definite feeling that it's quite exclusive, quite expensive as an option. But actually, it very much depends on how much you want to follow the sustainable route, because it's not an all or nothing. You can just make small changes and then it sort of fits within your budget however you want it to be. And also, as with all weddings, it's very much you'll spend however much you can and want to spend on it. So if you want to make those decisions more sustainable along the way, you can definitely do it for the same price. There's ways within weddings that can be cheaper. Obviously, if you choose sort of secondhand for things, that can quite often work out more cost effective. Reusing as much as possible, so it's across your day, as well as choosing to use recycled and reused items, reusing the things that you have already got across your day. So maybe using your bouquet once you've sort of sat down for your meal and don't want to keep hold of it for the rest of the day, that can look amazing in a vase on your bar, or by your guest book, just to add that beautiful element throughout your day. So it's a case of, there's a lot of ways that you can do it affordably.
I totally agree. There's two. I would say that you can do it affordably and keep your costs down, but you can also do it where you splash the cash out and still be sustainable. Definitely. So if you're conscious of the fact that yes, you do want to be sustainable, but you're worried that, hey, is my wedding going to look secondhand? You can splash the cash if you've got it and you want to, and be sustainable. David Attenborough, he says the problem with our world is, the environment, we need to protect it, and the I don't know the percentages, I'm terrible with remembering numbers and names, but please tell us, David. But he does state that it's those with the higher value money, the wealthy, that aren't sustainable. But you can have the money and be sustainable. So we need to change that. We do need to change that ethos, I do believe. So if you've got plenty of cash and you want to splash it all over your wedding, please take a second thought for sustainability. That's what I would say.
Definitely. Even that super luxurious look that you typically associate with the sort of the more expensive weddings, that can still be achieved and look just as amazing, but in a sustainable way. So totally, literally, like we were saying, there is no specific style for sustainability. It can look however you want, but it's about that approach, and it's about that thought process behind it all.
Which is amazing. Awesome. So what are a few small things everyone can do on the big day to incorporate sustainable aspects? What's a couple of little tips that you could give?
There's so many little things. I definitely think one of the things that obviously completely free option is just, like I mentioned, sort of each choice you make, just taking a bit of time over it and really, really thinking it through. Obviously, completely free to just do that and not necessarily worry about where the money's going, but just take your time to think.
good for that, yeah.
In terms of actual physical things that people can do, confetti is such an easy one to change. People don't really think about it, but technically if you're throwing the sort of more plastic type confetti, it's basically littering. It's really not good for the planet.
It is littering. Pretty litter, but it's littering.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, it looks lovely, but then the sustainable alternative can look just as beautiful as well.
Yeah.
And that's one of those areas where maybe sort of natural confetti can sometimes work out a little bit more expensive than just the stuff you could go and pick up from the shops. But with a bit of thought and a bit of forward planning, why not have a go at making your own natural confetti? All of those bouquets that you get, all of the flowers that people buy you when you get engaged and throughout your engagement and wedding planning journey, keep them, dry them, have a go at making your own confetti with them, and then they become part of your wedding day.
Love that idea. Yeah,
that can be a lovely
idea. You could even get who's going to your wedding day, you could get them involved as well. Your mums, your dads, your girlfriends, your friend, anyone. I was just pulling out names out of my head then, and I don't know why. Everyone gets flower bouquets, don't they? I was visioning, what can we do during lockdown? There's not much, is there? We go for our daily walks. Spring is coming. When you go for your daily walk, just pick some of those daisies. Don't pick the wildflowers, please. Just pick the daisies. Start collecting them. Hold hands. It's romantic. And go home, collect your flowers, dry them. It's free, and then you've got memories that you've made together as well. So yeah, good tip.
Definitely. And then another easy one that a lot of couples don't really even think about until sort of the last minute of the planning is favours. Now, as a planner, the amount of times I have seen lovely favours on the table that are still on the table at the end of the night because the guests, as much as they might love them, they've got engrossed in dancing and drinking and really enjoying themselves, and then have had to rush for their taxi or quickly headed to bed because they're shattered. So it's not necessarily because they don't want them, it's just a byproduct of an amazing wedding, is that unfortunately quite often the favours end up left behind. So quite a good alternative is, I mean, again, another case of really thinking about it. How much do favours matter to you? How much do you actually need to have them or want to have them? For some couples, obviously they really want to have a way of saying thank you to their guests, and that's completely understandable. So there are other ways you could do it. Quite often edible favours go down really well. If you've got a sweet treat or something on each place setting, then they probably won't even still be there by the end of the meal. No. So you don't have to worry about them being left behind.
And then they don't last with me.
Yeah, exactly. Quite often maybe one of your favourite shots, or a mini bottle of a homemade gin liqueur or something like that that's quite personal and edible or drinkable can be a really good option. Or maybe how about sort of donating to a charity instead? Something like that, sort of a really meaningful cause that's close to your hearts. Instead of spending the money on a favour, put a donation towards them, and maybe put a little note on at the bottom of your menu, or some way of letting your guests know that that's what you've done.
Yeah, I just thought of a really good one. I give all my girls seeds for Christmas, and I'm going to quiz them actually after today to see who's planted their seeds. But when you get your fruit and your veg, you can just save your seeds, save your pumpkin seeds, save them, just put them on the side, dry them out, and you could give plant a tree. So you could give people seeds as favours, and then there's a lovely feeling around that. So you've got your seeds. It's maybe a particular plant or a flower that symbolises you guys as a couple. You've sourced the seeds ethically. You might have done it yourself, and then with those seeds you create them into a favour, and then they go away, plant those seeds, and every time that plant's growing, they're reminded of that day, that one special day. So not only are they being sustainable with everything, they're making our planets wild again, because they're putting more trees on our ground, and then you also got the memories every time you see that plant as well. So yeah, that got me a little bit going then, that one.
Have you seen the seed paper options that are out there for stationery? I mean, that can be a
I've
brilliant
got a
way
few.
of doing it. Oh, I
Yeah,
love
good
it. So
idea.
yeah, so
Yeah,
you could have your name place cards for each guest, beautifully
yeah.
presented on some seed paper, and that can then double up as their favour that they take home, and everyone's got a small patch of wildflowers growing in their garden that you've helped to create.
Yeah, amazing. Love it. Absolutely love it. Especially, I'm loving all the flower talk at the minute with spring.
Yeah.
Do you find there's a stigma for sustainable elements, such as secondhand, reusing, recycling? And if so, what can we do to get rid of that? Because I can see that there is a stigma in regards to that in the wedding world.
Yeah.
So yeah, have you got any tips on how we can try and tackle the stigma?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is, isn't there? There's definitely that feeling of secondhand, sort of, especially maybe with dresses, it looking old, it looking vintage, and that not being what's right for you. There's a stigma between sort of, if you've reused things or recycled things, that it can just look a bit naff almost. There's that kind of feeling that comes with those words sometimes. But actually it's about how you use things, because I mean, I've done multiple styled shoots and have seen brides in beautiful dresses that are, I don't know, 40, sometimes even 100 years old, but they can still look like the future. They can still look incredible.
Yeah,
And there's also the option of sort of sticking with the dresses idea here. You don't have to have it exactly as it is. So if you buy a gorgeous vintage dress that's almost what you want, but you want to make it look a bit more modern, a bit more forward thinking, why not just make some alterations to it? You've still not created a whole new dress. You've still not added to all of the fabric that's in the waste system,
yeah,
but you've made it your own. So there's definitely ways you can do it, and there's definitely ways of recycling and reusing elements that, I mean, it can just look incredible. It doesn't have to look old or sort of,
it
yeah,
doesn't.
like you've scrimped and saved at
No.
all.
Hannah, that's how I set up my first business. I opened up my bridal shop. I had a rail full of vintage wedding dresses and a made to measure and made dresses, designed them and made them from scratch. And people would come to me with the vintage dress that it might be the grandmother's or it was passed down from an auntie. So I'm like, I loved it. I love it still. And we open it up and it comes with this, comes with that. It's got all these memories. So it's me going back to memories and what the meaning behind it, I think, very valuable for sustainability rather than just buying willy-nilly off the shelves. So people come to me with a vintage dress and I would redesign that vintage dress, one, to fit them, and two, to style it for them. Oh my gosh, one, it's so much fun. Two,
Yeah.
it's sustainability. That sustainability behind it is amazing. And three, the cost on it, you save so much money, it's unbelievable. So yeah, the Bridal Emporium Leeds, that's how we set up. We did that, we still do that, and I absolutely gets me right here in my heart. So yeah, great.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And in terms of kind of helping to sort of, yeah, destigmatize it, I guess the main thing is just to keep, as much as we can, and as many suppliers and directories and blogs, just keep promoting it and just keep showing how beautiful it can look, because
Yeah.
the only way we're going to destigmatize it is if it becomes the norm and the new way of doing it, and the way that couples are seeing these beautiful weddings, and can associate it with a more sustainable approach as well. So
Yeah.
it's just a collective effort to move towards that, definitely.
Yeah. When I have someone on the shop floor and I've got a bride and she's humming around about ordering one new or buying the one on the shop floor, and everyone's like, you've got to get new, it's your wedding day. And I have a little thing that I say, well, you walk into any high street shop and it's a new product, it's there on the rail, anyone's bought it, it's cost you quite a bit of money. High street, some stores these days are quite expensive, a couple of £100 if you want something decent and well made. So anyone could have tried that on. Anyone could have tried it on. It's still brand new, and you're going to go to the till and you buy it, you take it home, you might put it on before you even wash it. So what's the difference with your wedding dress? Why can't you buy a dress off the rail that's already been produced? You know, all people have only tried it on, they haven't worn it for the wedding day. You're going to get that dress at a reduced cost. You're going to stop as much production and then less products on landfill. And guess what? You don't need to tell anybody that you bought it off the rail. No one needs to know that you bought a dress brand new, you bought a dress off the rail, or you bought a dress pre-loved. It's up to you if you want to tell people. So yeah, I say that to people, and people are like, oh yeah, good point. If you want to, get it dry cleaned if you buy it off the rail. It's you're still going to look beautiful, you're still going to be you, and you're still going to say I do, you know. So yeah,
it can be so unique, it really can. And even when it comes down to sort of hand making elements of it and reusing and upcycling elements for your day, just think of that love that you can pour into it, and how unique it will be and how personal it will be to you on the day. I love weddings that are really rich with personality and meaning and thoughtfulness that's gone into it, and really depicting you as a couple. And you can really achieve that by carefully selecting and upcycling and reusing things that matter to you. And it also, a lot of it comes down to the language we use as well, because hiring decor and things like that is essentially recycling and reusing. But it's something that we do so commonly across the industry. And no wedding that a stylist or a prop hire does looks the same either. So we're used to that. We're used to the fact that it's about how you use it, not what you're using. But actually, as soon as we start to talk about recycling or reusing and secondhand, there seems to be that slightly different perception of it.
No, you've literally, I have to write some words down in my head right now, because you've literally just given me some really, really, really good ideas for changing the way we use our words. Actually, thank you for that, Hannah. You've just enlightened me. Yes, and I hope someone else, you guys are enlightened by that as well. You're right. You're hiring something that's already been used, and I've never thought about that. And we do. And most weddings are your products that you use, your seats that you sit on, your tablecloths, your candelabras from your wedding planners. They're all hired. They've all been touched by somebody else. So why are we using the word hire? We should incorporate the word sustainability, repurposing products instead of using the word hire. So yeah, great. Thank you for that.
That's okay.
So where can couples go for sustainable products? What can you do in order to allow their day to be stress-free in terms of planning?
Well, as a planner, I really work closely with my couples to ensure that I'm helping in the areas that they need the support with, coming up with the ideas and the suggestions that are right for them, but also taking a back step when they want to get really involved themselves. It's all about me being there on your terms and helping how you want me to help, rather than me kind of creating the day that is in my head. It needs to be what's in your head. So it's very much about removing that stress, removing those obstacles, those tasks that are causing you the stress and that are sort of leaving you feeling quite overwhelmed, and working with you through those. And just removing the stress that way. But I mean, focusing on sustainability, it can get really overwhelming. I mean, in general day-to-day life, there's so many times where even I will feel like, why am I doing this? So you feel like you're hitting your head against a brick wall sometimes and not making the progress that you want. But I'm definitely there as kind of your cheerleader, essentially, in the background, reminding you that each little step that we make all adds up. And each little thing is worthwhile doing. But also at the same time, if there's something that you absolutely love that isn't particularly sustainable, that's fine. We'll find other ways of counteracting it. We'll find other ways of incorporating sustainability. So it's very much about having someone there who kind of, or for me certainly, having someone there that listens to you and what values you have and what priorities you have, and tailoring it to you, because sustainability isn't just, it's not one approach, it's not one look, one style, one way of doing things. So it matters that it's driven by you and whatever's causing sort of, you to create the day that you want and minimizing the stress along the way.
Brilliant. I would definitely mirror you there. I would say when you've just got engaged and you've got all the time in the world and you're actioning things. When you first start it up, you generally will go for your venue, your wedding planner, your photographer, your clothing, attire, cake. They generally are your top ones, aren't they? Stationery as well. So I would just so strip it back. I would keep it basics. Right, I need a venue. Which venues in my area am I seeking? I'm seeking a barn because I'll be able to be more environment friendly because I have more control of the products and the services that come in for my day. Okay, that's me thinking about it. Right, let's be active and go and source which barns are sustainable and voicing their opinions about it. Stationery, I would go and nice and easy, keep it basic. I go and work out, do I do it DIY? So I'm saving emissions back and forth and things like that. Or do I go and source from a company that is sustainable? Again, basic, easy, sorted, done. We don't need to overthink it, do we? We just need to generally just be like, right, that's my ethos. Okay, let's do it. And then I really agree with going finding, like yourself, Hannah, and go and finding those who are specialists in those fields and bringing conversations up. And you know, you got your catchment area, Hannah, but I bet you talk to so many brides and grooms across the country just because you want to get that the ethos sustainability going. You want to bring that conversation going online. So just come and chat to Hannah.
Definitely. Yeah, so I do have a sort of catchment area for my in-person services, just because as part of the ethos I try to keep things local. But I do have an online virtual sort of planning support service that I'm happy to help couples across the UK, because I want to help spread the message and help couples wherever they are with whatever aspects of their wedding they're struggling with, especially in terms of sustainable ideas. Because it's not easy. It would be easy to just go out there and plan the wedding however you normally would and get whichever options you come across first. But if you really want to kind of push even just some sustainable aspects, it's about taking that time, and that's where I'm happy to help and happy to kind of help give you back that time by having already done a lot of the research for you and sort of helping come up with ideas.
So how will everyone find you online? What's your link?
So my website is greensoulweddings.co.uk. I'm on Instagram with the same Green Soul Weddings tag, and Pinterest and Facebook as well. So Perfect. I can be found in quite a few places.
Amazing. And we'll pop your links underneath our videos and Spotify and stuff like that as well. So yes, please go and follow. Okay, so do you believe smaller suppliers make a wedding day more intimate, unique and sustainable?
It's certainly easier to know where everything's come from and the kind of supply chain when you keep things small, and also a great way of even just a first step in approaching things more sustainably is to look local, to look for small independent businesses where the investment that you're making is directly helping your local economy. Because at the end of the day, sustainability isn't just about the environment, it goes into sort of financial sustainability and everything. So really investing in your local area, keeping things local, not only does that make that more convenient for you to go and find people and talk to people and get to know your suppliers, but it just helps minimize travel, and it helps in so many ways. So keeping things local, keeping things small independent businesses can be a great way of doing it. And it does help create that sort of intimate and unique feeling, because you really get to know the people you're investing in. You get to know the people who have made your stationery. You probably get to know a bit about their everyday lives. You sort of get an insight into them, and they will love getting the sort of insight into you and your relationship and putting that into everything that they make for you. And with sort of caterers and all aspects of weddings, if you go for sort of small local teams, it can really, it can really help you to create something that's more unique and more you. And yeah, definitely that sort of intimate, sort of close teamwork feeling.
Yeah, I would totally mirror that. The amount of dresses that I've altered that people have bought online elsewhere overseas, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, if that's what you need to do and that's what you want to do, that's fine. But the high percentage of brides that have come through my doors saying, what is this? It doesn't fit me. It feels awful. It isn't what I expected. So one, I want you to think about, okay, you've just spent X amount of money on this. You know it's going to be a 50-50 job if it's going to work or not because of where it's going to come from. And two, if it doesn't work, you're going to spend X amount of money to put that right. So one, you might as well go straight to the source locally yourself and just get it right in the first place, in my eyes, rather trying to fix a situation. So one, you're trying to fix a situation where you've got a product which is being mass produced and the costing of it is terrible, really low, because why is it low in the first place? And then the quality of it isn't what your expectations. So then if you go straight to your local supplier, so you go straight to your, so I'm referring back to bridal shop, you go to your bridal shop and you get to feel the quality, you get to talk to the bridal shop owner or the stylist and go, where is it made? And you know, what can you do to it? Can you create this style that I've envisioned for myself? And as soon as people come into me and have alterations and I have to alter a dress that's been manufactured overseas and it's a very cheap dress, I'm basically being told that they want me to polish a piece of rubbish. Now, how am I supposed to do that when the first piece of rubbish isn't fantastic? It's not great, and then they end up actually spending more. So in my eyes, I always think it's better to purchase quality and purchase local, because they can speak to me and go, hey, this is what I want, and I'll be like, right, this is what you want, it's going to cost you this much and this is going to be the quality that you're going to get, but if you want it to be cheaper, then the quality is going to drop a little bit, but if you want to spend a little bit more, you can have better quality and better organic materials, and we can source where most those materials come from. But I'm happy to say that environmentally friendly fabrics are so much easier to get hold of these days, and also so much more cost effective as well. We're opening up our manufacturing not for cheap labor anymore. I'm noticing that people are finding alternatives for things like that. So you wouldn't know this if you don't come and speak to me as a bridal shop owner. If you come and speak to me and go, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing, I'm going to spend 50 quid on this dress online, then I'm going to say, hey, it's either going to be fantastic and you're going to drop on and you're going to be really happy, or you're going to come to me and you're going to spend a hell of a lot more money than what you plan to spend on anyway. So you might as well have just gone down the environmentally sustainability route in the first place. So yes, I just see that so much. And I feel so guilty when I tell people on the shop floor, and I'm like, I'm so sorry that I've got to explain to you this, and you think a cheaper version is going to be better, or it's going to give you what you want and what you envision, but it generally doesn't. So yeah, source local as much as you want, or just chat to people who are local, because they know what they're talking about because they've been doing it all these years. So yeah, Anna, thanks for that.
Yeah, traceability and transparency is so much better once you've kept the chain small, you've kept the chain as people that you can actually speak to and ask those questions. Definitely.
Yeah. And you know, if we go back down that route of cost effective, suppliers aren't going to say to you, and are not going to help you if you want to be cost effective. They want to support you. So whatever your price bracket is, talk to them, open up those conversations. There's going to be suppliers that are going to support you for a lower bracket, there's going to be suppliers that are going to support you for a medium price bracket, and there's going to be suppliers that support you for a high end bracket. So yeah, just open that conversation is so true, isn't it, Hannah? So if couples have already planned a lot of their wedding, they've already organised loads, they've already bought loads, they've gone crazy, they've bought, I was about to swear then. I've been told I've got to stop swearing because I keep having to get my videos edited. I'm a swear a trooper. Whoopsies. So, and you know, I've just bought 20 of these fake trees that I don't even need, and now I've got them in my house. Why have I done it? Okay, is it too late to start making your wedding sustainable, Hannah?
I would say it's probably never too late. It's always, the more decisions you've already made, the more those things are set in stone now. We can't change them. And actually, instead of, one of the things that I see all the time, and maybe typically outside of weddings rather than sort of within, but it's thinking about the sustainable living approach. There's no sense in getting rid of something you've already got just to replace it with a more sustainable option, because actually the most sustainable option is to use what you've got.
Yes.
So if you've already made a lot of these decisions and invested in different suppliers that maybe aren't the most sustainable options, or bought in lots of things that you're not really sure how you're going to reuse afterwards, then there are still things that we can do. Definitely a case of thinking about any future decisions that you've still got to make. So as you get closer to the day, you'll have the more sort of nitty-gritty details, things like your favours, things like your guest book, things like finalising details with your caterer and talking to them about, asking them about their kind of food waste approach and what they do with any leftover ingredients that they didn't actually need. Things like that can still be done, even if you've mostly planned, even if you're quite close to the actual wedding day. But also thinking about things that you will do with, thinking about what you will do with everything after the wedding day.
Yes.
Because especially, so your example of having bought 10 artificial trees to decorate your venue, if you don't know what you're going to do with them, I mean, turn your house into a jungle if you want, that sounds cool, but if you're not sure how you're going to sort of keep them afterwards, look at all of the different resale options that there are out there. There's so many great websites where you can essentially list your whole wedding for other couples to buy and to choose elements of that they might want for their own day. It's not necessarily an easy process. You can end up with having to kind of keep everything in your house for quite a while until you've managed to sell everything, but it's definitely worthwhile to do. Not only do you get some of the money back by doing it like that way, but you're also helping another couple who might be choosing to sort of focus on reusing elements and recycling elements. Another idea could be, if you are already completely planned, like I mentioned earlier on, thinking about how you can reuse flowers across your day, reuse decor elements across your day, so that you are really maximising everything you have already chosen and purchased. For example, your ceremony backdrop can be ideal to go maybe behind your top table if you're having one, or behind your cake table, or maybe dismantled and used to accentuate the bar or the dance floor. So really thinking about how you can reuse things, whatever you've already got, whatever you've already decided on, there's ways to really maximise it. And then after your wedding day as well, if you have gone all out on flowers, you've got your entire venue completely decked out with really luxurious flowers, what a waste to see that only for one day. So one of the loveliest things you can do is to then donate all of those to care homes, to local hospitals, to places where they will then brighten someone else's day, because realistically flowers last for quite a lot longer than just your wedding day. And there's a charity in London, I think they might be called Floral Angels, that you can get in touch with, and they will come collect all your wedding flowers, repurpose them, put them into vases, take them around different places. And certainly as a planner, I would be really interested in helping you to do that, and helping get in touch with local places that we can sort of distribute your flowers and help brighten other people's day, so that they haven't just gone into landfill. Because yes, flowers will degrade, but what a waste to have had such beautiful flowers and them only last a day.
And do you know what, I would love to I've got loads of flower friends, and I would love to open that conversation up to them. Do they actually offer that support after the wedding day? What support do they offer to the customers with the flowers, because you're right, you are right on that aspect actually. The amount of time and effort to create those flowers into the vision that you want for the flower, the blooms, the arches that are created, the hanging flowers, to some stunning installations these days, absolutely stunning. But what if you're a florist out there, I would love for you to comment underneath with what it is that you do to support your customers after their big day with their flowers. Is there anything that you do? Do you want to do something? You know, I would love to open up the conversation with you guys, and let's get that out there. And let's start changing the way we do things.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many different ways you could do it. As a couple, you could choose to have your bouquet dried, so that you get to keep it as a keepsake for forever, pretty much. I've seen examples where you can have your flowers put into resin, so that you could have sort of beautiful decor around the house that's got your flowers preserved into it, or obviously pressed, all sorts of different options like that. But also, even if you're not sure, or if you've got so many flowers you don't really know what to do with them, why not maybe talk to your florist and see if they would take them back and then dry them and use them as confetti for future weddings. There's so many different things that you could do.
It would be an interesting one, because obviously from a business point of view, is that, yes, it's environmentally friendly, but is it a business savvy thing to do? That's the issue, isn't it? So is it worth their time and effort to do something with it afterwards? Are people willing to pay that money, let's say, to continue that support from their florist to do something with those flowers? So there's two sides to everything. It is fantastic to say, let's be sustainability, but then we always have expenses afterwards as well. So a florist, if you've sorted it, if you figured it out how to do it, we want to hear from you. Seriously do. So we can share the love. So that's all of our questions, Hannah, and I think we've just absolutely thrown in some really, really good top tips. I have thrown a little last one in though. I've put in here some my top 5 swaps, and I thought, right, okay, this is what I'm doing at my home at the minute. What is my top swaps I would do at home and change to more of a sustainable lifestyle? See, it's not overthinking. It's 5 usable products that I would use at home and buy on an occurring instance. So top 5 swaps for a wedding. Let's have a little brainstorm, shall we? What we could do that creates a more of a sustainable environment for your big day.
One of the things that I think makes the biggest difference, and one of the things that I think a lot of couples really don't know about, and understandably, because I didn't either until fairly recently, and until you really look into it, is that the oasis that so many florists use is actually just basically a bunch of microplastics that is really bad for the planet as it biodegrades. It's not particularly friendly for the florists to be using either. It's really not a nice substance for them to be using day in, day out. So one of my biggest tips, and I think one of the things that couples can do to really make the biggest difference, is to opt for foam free. Straight away, a lot of couples will worry that will affect how amazing their flowers would be, or what sort of structures and arches could be created. But there's amazing florists out there that have really, really worked to come up with some amazing alternative methods. It just takes a little bit of forward planning, it takes a little bit of extra thought, but it's definitely achievable. So going foam free with your flowers.
Do you know, I've never even thought about that, Hannah. That's actually a really, really valid point. Yeah, thank you for that. I've just thought of one. Buffet table, 10 o'clock at night. We all have them, don't we? And what's normally on the buffet table on a wedding? It's plastic forks, paper plates. And so let's swap that. One, on Emperella, we have a sustainability supplier where you can buy wooden forks and your plates and your crockery. One is sustainable, and your second one is you can hire crockery. So you can hire vintage crockery with beautiful crystals, with lovely crockery and your knives and forks. Swap the paper and the plastic to either hire or bamboo sustainable manufactured products for your buffet table, because that's a big one, I would say. Your buffet table, it's a real quick fast thing fix that people do, don't they? So let's you know, you can swap them on birthday parties, you can swap that over on Christmas parties. We all use paper plates, we all use plastic condiments at times. Now let's, you know, carry on with the swap the straws. Don't use straws, plastic straws. Yeah, so that's a really good swap.
Yeah,
Any
definitely.
more
And
swaps?
for your evening bar as well, not using the plastic cups.
Yeah.
It is worth, one of the things that I will say though, is worth talking to your venue about that, because there are some venues where, especially if they've got gorgeous gardens and or a really packed dance floor that they keep really pristine, there are some venues that don't like you to have glass, but there are alternatives to plastic. There are biodegradable cups that are out there. So yeah, talk to your venue, but there are definitely ways to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Another tip, your wedding cake. You've got a gorgeous cake there, and quite often if you have given your guests so much lovely food all day, it can end up just not really getting eaten, and especially if you've sort of cut it all up and portioned it out ready for the evening, it can so often end up not being eaten. So either there's different ways to approach it. Either maybe serve it as your dessert instead, so that everyone does definitely get to enjoy some.
Yeah.
Or talk to your cake maker. If you love the idea of a really big cake, really grand cake with lots of tiers, but you know that realistically you've not got the large guest numbers, or that they're probably not going to eat lots of it, it is possible to have fake cake tiers. So that can be a great way of doing it, to minimize how much waste there is and minimize how much cake there is.
But they use polystyrene foam in fake cakes. So if you're a cake maker, have you got an alternative? That's what I would want to know. That would be my question.
Yeah. I have seen some decorative layers as well that are sort of fake layers that look fake but also beautiful. So sort of reusable. What's the material? Like reusable see-through cake tiers that can just look incredible, and obviously your cake maker can take it back and reuse it afterwards.
Amazing. So that's another little tip for cake makers: swap the foam over. So let's if you're a cake maker and you do the fake tiers, thank you. We'd love to hear how you swapped to be more sustainable as well. So that's a really good one. I was gonna jump on that bandwagon with the cake, and I was gonna say, if you do have a cake from your cake maker, you could also get everyone who's involved with your wedding to bake a cake, bake a cheesecake, bake some buns. That's another little memory. Someone's putting personal touch into the wedding. Have a cake table, everyone lays it all out there, and then boom, just like you said, everyone gets involved after the meal or after the buffet. You've got all your cakes and your sweets and your treats ready for you. That's another good swap, isn't it?
Think of another one. Other outfits for the wedding. So we've spoken a lot about sort of brides and dresses today, but actually you can extend that further. So when we talk about single use, we quite often think about the plastics and the straws and the spoons and the cutlery, but actually quite a lot of wedding outfits can be very single use as well. Think about bridesmaids. Think about whether they're actually going to enjoy wearing that dress again, whether it's something that they would wear again. So quite often a great way around that would either be to let them choose their own dress. And with the guys and with the suits as well, let them choose their own suit. If they've got a particular style, maybe they know they won't ever wear a waistcoat again. Not all of them need to wear a waistcoat. Things like that can make them still look special, make them still look part of the wedding party, but have something that they will actually rewear, or at least elements that they will reuse.
I so agree with that, and I find myself talking about that on the shop floor as well a lot. We have an idea where we dictate to people what they should and shouldn't do for the wedding day, forgetting that actually they're their own person, they're their own entity. They are there for you, but they don't have to change themselves for you. They're their own person. So I have a rule of thumb come to this. People may disagree. So for me, if you're a bride and groom and you're purchasing the products for your, you know, your best man, your maid of honor and your bridesmaids and your groom's party and stuff like that, if you're buying it, then yes, you know, you're a wedding guest and you're getting this free outfit from them, aren't they? So I would be like, yeah, keep shum, it's their ideas, you're getting something free, please use it afterwards. But that's not very sustainable. So agree, if your wedding party is purchasing their own outfits, which I think helps, one, with the cost of your wedding, and two, helps with the sustainability, because they're going to buy something. Because if they're going to go to your wedding day, they would have to buy an outfit to go and wear anyway. So what's the difference with them buying their own bridesmaid dress, with buying their own suit? There's no difference, but they get to buy what they want to wear. And again, like, and that helps with the sustainability. They're buying something that they will want to repeat. Keep it in your colour theme, keep it in the genre of the style of the wedding. Have a little mood board which is creative as a bride or groom to make, and be like, right, okay, this is how it's going to be styled on the big day. You're going to be the maid of honor, you're going to be the best man, whatever, whoever you're going to ask. You might not ask anybody. I'm not going to ask anybody when I finally get engaged. I'm going to be on my billy todd with my girls most likely. But and that's me being sustainable with regards to that. And so yes, you could get the hype. You could say to them, right, this is the style, this is where we're going to do it, this is the style of the colors and the textures and the fabrics that we like. Go and enjoy yourself. If you can keep in keeping with it, that would be fantastic. But please wear something that you're going to be comfortable with. And then on your day, you've got all these people that absolutely love you. They're going to be your best man, your maid of honor, your bridesmaid, your groom party. But guess what? One, you've done something sustainable because they're buying something that they would rewear. And two, they're going to be so much more comfortable. And if everybody is comfortable on the wedding day, guess what? Everybody enjoys it. But if they're not comfortable, they're going to be like, oh, that's annoying, oh, that's uncomfortable, oh, that's a bit low down my boobies, oh, it's a bit tight around my belly. So you're not going to have that comfort, that relaxed environment for your big day. So as well, there's quite a lot of that's a little bit of a biggie for me, actually, that I see quite a lot. So I try and change people's mindsets on it.
There's so many benefits to it, and definitely feeling more confident, feeling more comfortable is such a big thing. If you've got, it's easier to talk about the sort of bridal party when we're having these sort of discussions, but if you've got a bridesmaid or a maid of honor that's really not comfortable in a dress, why can't they have a beautiful suit? Why can't they have a jumpsuit? But by giving them that choice, they're going to feel so much more comfortable, so much more themselves on your day. It will show in the photos, it will just show in general. So definitely a great thing to consider. And actually, one of the things you said there, I'm going to pick up on, because we do all buy, well, we're all guilty of it, I've done it myself. You get an invite land on your doorstep, and the first thing you think of as a guest is, what am I going to buy? What am I going to wear? Why do we do that though? Because why can't we rewear something that we already own, we already love, and we already feel really confident in? There's absolutely nothing to say that we can't rewear outfits. And actually, there's quite a few couples I've recommended before. If that's something that you want to encourage your guests to do, pop it on your invite. Pop it on your wedding website. Encourage guests to rewear things. Not only does it help with guests that might not have the income, or especially if you're that generation where all of your friends are getting married all in the same year, you don't want to be buying 8 different new dresses or 8 different suits. So encouraging your couples to feel comfortable with the fact that they can, or encouraging your guests to feel comfortable with the fact that they can rewear something for your wedding, can be a great way of spreading your sustainable message beyond your day.
That's fantastic. So I've just thought of a good swap. So, you know, if you are getting married at a particular ceremony and then you've got to travel elsewhere to a different location, you might be then staying in a hotel, or you might be staying on that location. Everyone's a little bit, you know, it's big weddings, quite a bit misjointed where everyone is. So one, you know, you're going to end up with loads of taxis, loads of people driving from one venue to the other. So let's close that down where you organize the vehicle yourself. So you get a bus, get a coach, get some, whatever. There's loads of vehicles out there that you can hire. You're supporting your local economy. You're putting everyone on the same entity, so then you're dropping the emissions in the environment from back and forth with the car emissions. And then guess what? Everyone's in the same room, in the same vehicle, and you're absolutely having a laugh as well. So you're continuing from your ceremony to your next venue, and sometimes it can be a bit disjointed. Oh, I'll see you later. I'll see you later. But if you think about it in that aspect, and you put everyone on the same vehicle, then you're gonna carry on that fun. You're gonna carry on that entertainment, that buzz, the vibe, and then everyone's going to jump off it. You might have your bubbles on there with your biodegradable cups ready on your big bus drinking. There's loads of stuff you can do, so that's a really good swap, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Or encouraging car sharing if you don't want to sort of invest in all of the transport for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be a great way of really adding a real sense of community to your day as well, especially if you're very, very family orientated maybe, or even if you're not, but you've got really diverse groups of people that from all different walks of life coming together on that day. Things like encouraging car sharing or getting everyone together on joint transport really helps to get everyone getting to know each other, and it can create such an exciting buzz on the day.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Okay. Oh my gosh, Hannah, I actually feel like I could just carry on chatting to you about sustainability swaps. Maybe we just need to do a monthly sustainability swap hack, actually.
Yeah.
So and really get people to really start thinking about how we can change our ethos on what a wedding day is. Yeah. And be kind to our environment and our surroundings whilst we do it and we do our planning. So yeah, thank you very much, Hannah, for today's call. Absolutely loved catching up with you. My actual cheeks are actually hurting. Yes, I agree, Hannah, I agree. Have you got any last words of wisdom you would like to share with our community over on M4Ella?
Just to have your day your way. I think it's so important, and especially in terms of sustainability, if it's something that you've not really thought about before, don't feel like you need to go all out. Don't feel like everything that you do has to be sustainable. But at the same time, if you're really passionate about it, find someone who shares that passion and really go for it. Do what works for you, because it can be such a minefield otherwise, and you can feel so overwhelmed by it. Make sure that you're comfortable with it and do what's right for you and make it about yourselves.
And something is better than nothing. You might only do one sustainable thing for your wedding day, but that one sustainable thing is a start for changing the way we look at weddings. So please, if you've just done that one thing, shout about it. Tell us over on M4Ella and drop your comments below for us, because we want to hear your swaps and how you're changing your days, because we're on that journey with you. So yeah, love it. We've got a big journey to do, haven't we, Hannah, to make these changes, but it's a very exciting journey, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you very much for joining us, Hannah. Hello everybody, and goodbye to you all for joining on today's Real Wedding Chat. I hope you have loved our sustainable swaps, our sustainable chats. Has it made you excited as much as it's made me excited chatting to Hannah? If so, you need to go and check Hannah out at Green Soul Weddings and share the love, and drop a comment underneath. But thank you everybody. Yeah, thanks Hannah.
Thanks. Been lovely to join you.
Oh, thank you.